So here is another question I got, and it's a great one. It's actually one of those ones where I think I get to help somebody, which I think is just great. Here it is. How do I deal with negative and toxic people who don't want to love me even if I show them love? They control me because I am loving and treat me like their slave. How do I deal with such people? Should I ignore or stay away? What if I can't stay away? What do I do? There's a lot in this that I want to talk about. How do I deal with negative and toxic people who don't want to love me even if I show them love? First of all, the concept of who don't want to love me, you are very much in need in this statement. You feel like you need your love and you're giving your love and you're not getting it back, right? But the not getting it back is the belief that is holding you back. You believe that you can't love them enough for them to actually love you. If they don't want to love you, and it doesn't feel good, then it's not love; it's fear, right? And in this statement, I would say it's your fear of not having their love, your fear of not getting their love, your focus on them not loving you. Who cares? Let their love go. Just love them. If you're loving for the return of love, that's not unconditional. That's conditional. Your condition is I'm loving you, so you're supposed to love me in return. There's a lot of people who don't love me. There's a lot of people who don't love me. I love them. I recognize where they are, and I understand why. I have family members who don't talk to me because of my personal beliefs. And I love them anyway because I understand their beliefs are deeply rooted in Catholicism, and what I say goes against their religion. They're mad at me for it. And that's okay. I can still love them. I don't have to like them. I don't have to associate with them. Right? I can still love them enough to let them be who they are, right? The next line you say is, they control me. No one can control you unless you give them permission to control you. You are the one in control of your experience. You are the one who has to say, okay, I will bend to your will. You are the one who's giving control. You are in control. You are in control of giving away your control. And you need to step back and go, no, I am not being controlled by you. And what's so interesting is when you stand up and say, no, I am not being controlled by you, what happens is there's a blow up, right? But eventually what happens is they suddenly feel the loss of power they have over you because you've taken the power that they have over you away because you're the one that gave it to them in the first place. So this idea of they control me because I am loving and treat me like their slave. No one can be treated like a slave unless they choose to be treated like a slave. So someone says, I need you to do this. You say, no, you do that. And they come back, well, you're supposed to blah, 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 blah. No. It's your turn, right? You know, if you don't allow a child to have those moments in life, those consequences, they never learn. It's the same with the people in your life. The people who you say are trying to control you. Well, like I said, they can't control you unless you give them that permission. But if you say they're trying to control you and you say, no, you can't control me, that's the consequence they're going to get. You go deal with it yourself. You know, you have to stand up and take your power, take your ability to control your own life. If you believe that they have control over you, you have to realize that control is coming from your belief. I don't believe anybody has control over me. I don't. And people come and say, so, you know, when I was a kid, I had an abusive father, which was very much a controlling thing, right? how liberating it was the day that I cussed him out. Sounds terrible to say, but it was like when I cussed him out, he had nothing he could say in return. And he had nothing he could say in return because he knew he no longer had the power to control me anymore. He knew that I could just tell him to F off, right? And that to me was so empowering. And, in life, my father and I never reconciled. And I'm okay with that because I know life is eternal, so I'm not worried about it, right? But the concept of someone controlling you is you giving away your personal power. How do I deal with such a people? Just like I just said. They come at you and they throw controlling things at you. Tell them, nope. Give them the consequence. Realize that no is a complete sentence. You do not need to do what they say. Right? And you can handle that yourself. That's a great line. Blah, 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 blah. You do this, you do this. No, you do that. I'm busy. I got other stuff I need to do. Right? I put out a video the other day about people really wanting to control my life by saying we need to have a conversation, right? That's a controlling statement. They need something, so they're saying I have to give it to them, right? By saying we need to, I have to love myself enough to realize that if I did that for every person who contacted me, I would have no life. I mean, I would have no life because I'm getting 4 or 5 of those a day who are saying we need to have a conversation because of whatever, And if I literally stopped my life and started connecting with those people, my entire life would go away. The videos would go away. Everything would go away because that would take up the time. And I love myself enough to say no. I love myself enough to say no. And I love myself enough to not let their need have control over my life. And you have to be able to say no and realize it's a complete sentence. Should I ignore or stay away? It's not about ignore or stay away. It's about releasing attachment to their desires. It's about letting go of anything they want of you. And just, you don't have to. I would ignore it if that's the word you would use it. But I would say I would recognize what they're doing and say, no, I'm not being controlled. No, I'm not doing that. And it's not really ignoring it as much as it is meeting their expectations with the opposite of what they expect. Stay away. Well, if it doesn't get better, and they're negative people, why would you want to be with them anyway? Why would you want to? Because I'm sure every time you go up near them, you go and you suck in air, and you're tense the whole time you're with them, and you're walking on eggshells because you're around them. Unless forgive them the consequences, and if they change, great. If they don't, go away. I don't put myself around negative people. I find myself in a place where I'm surrounded by negative people. I leave, right? I go find people who will love me for me. And if they don't love me for me, I go somewhere else. But I love me the whole time. I love me enough the whole time to realize that these people will never be the people that love me unconditionally. I have some people here who I befriended, and it took me some time to realize that it wasn't really a friendship. It was a transactional relationship. They would call me up and they'd say stuff like, "I've missed you so much. I haven't talked to you. Can you do this for me?" They would only contact me or talk to me when they wanted something from me. And I realized it wasn't really friendship. I was an asset in that regard. And so I just stopped doing it, right? And sometimes they call me up and they say, "Can you do this for me?" And I'm like, "Sure." But I'm not attached. I understand what that relationship is now. I understand that's not a real friendship. That's a transactional thing. And I can lovingly do something for somebody and not be attached to receiving from them. Because it doesn't really matter if I receive from them. I'm doing something loving. And because I'm doing something loving, And they'll probably come back to me later and want something else from me. And if I feel like doing it, I will. If I don't, I won't. And I'll say no. Nope, sorry, don't have time. What if I can't stay away? Now, the question, what if I can't stay away? The question then becomes, is this because you're in a family situation and you're living in the same house with them, or is you can't stay away because you are tempted and you always go back to them? I would, if you're in the first situation where you're in a family situation and you're literally can't. In my situation, like I say, my brothers and sisters and I can love them. They don't agree with my beliefs and they've judged me because of them, and that's okay. I have to just know that that's okay, right? And I go, okay, and let it go. Release attachment is what Buddha would say. Buddha would say, release attachment. Don't stay focused on needing anything in return. Just love them. And my brother comes and he talks about, you're a false prophet, blah blah blah, and I'm like, wow, listen to all that fear, listen to all that anxiety, look at all that tension in his voice. I recognize the actual pain he's in. I've never met my brother when he was young was a very funny guy. As he got older, he got more and more bitter, and it got to the point where you'd see him and he'd have just a scowl on his face. The more Catholic he became, the more unhappy he became. And it was very interesting. Now he was teaching Sunday school and everything else, and he's just an unhappy, bitter, nasty individual who I literally I used to love hanging out with him when I was younger. I can't stay in a room with him for a couple hours now, and we do that once a year, Christmas time. But I recognize where he is, and it's not my place to tell him to change. It's my place to, let him be who he is. Spirituality is a personal journey, and in this situation, if you can't stay away because you're in a living situation that you can't stay away, then in that living situation, let them know you're not being controlled anymore. If you can stay away and you're not seeing results of the consequences you're giving, then stay away. I've left lots of friendships that were not really friendships. So that's my thought on this, and I hope that gives you the answer that you're looking for. You have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. The John of New channel is solely funded by your generous donations and purchases of private readings and merchandise. To help out, go to johnofnew.com or use the donation link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.